Hi, everybody.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
Hello.
Did we
Did
have
all
any
of your
minutes
snow
to
melt?
go over?
No, still got plenty of it.
Ours is 3/4 of the way gone.
Okay. Ours is almost all gone. We had a foot and it's almost all gone.
Yeah. Yeah. We have a
We had
lot
another-
of water about. So
Yeah.
how about yours, Roger? You still have
We
yours?
got 3 to 4 inches of snow before the rain last night.
Oh, yeah, we didn't. Yeah.
So I wanted to introduce you to Heather Backman, who is our new library building specialist at the MVLC.
Hi, Heather.
Hi, everybody.
Hi,
Nice to meet you all.
same here.
So Heather has done extensive work on projects with the Hopkinton Public Library and the the Tufts Library in Weymouth. So she comes with a lot of experience, having been a director and assistant director throughout projects, and we're very lucky to have her. And so I'm happy that she's joining us and getting up to speed with what's happening with our pilot project.
Hi, Dominic.
Hi, Marianne.
So
Hi, everybody.
I don't know why I made a waiting room. Well, because the waiting room is the default, so I didn't uncheck the waiting room, but I'll just keep watching it. Are we expecting anybody else? Is Matt coming, Dominic?
Not from my team today. no.
Okay.
Yep.
And how about, Neil might get here a little bit late, so I'll keep watching. And let's see, all of our team is here. So,
Nice.
yeah. So great. And Dominic, just before you got here, Andrea was introducing Heather Backman, who's the new building specialist. I don't know if you've had a chance to meet yet or not.
No, not via Zoom.
Okay.
Andrea
Oh.
introduced you via email. It's great to meet you
Okay.
via Zoom. I look forward to
Yes.
meeting you in person one day
Absolutely.
and working with you on this project.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm on day 3 here, so I really am just in the meeting people phase of things.
Okay.
Nice.
All
Nice.
righty. So we should just get started. So on the agenda, I think just for the public record, it's nice to have a definition of where we are now, because we're in a new phase. So Dominic, if you could just briefly describe the construction document phase, what we can expect to happen, how long it'll last, anything else that's important, then, just for the record. That would be
Absolutely.
great. Okay.
Yeah, sure. So I did compose a presentation today, which kind of covers some of those things.
Okay.
I don't know whether your agenda today allows for, going through things. I'm very happy to just kind of keep it brief if you want to keep it brief. I can kind of give an overview now. I was going to present the schedule and kind of
Okay, that's fine. So whenever you want to do that, that's fine. I made you a co-host.
Yeah.
And then the other thing on the agenda is to just review the construction documents work that you've already been doing.
Yep.
And then whatever else we need to review to keep the schedule, and then what else we ever need to do to keep things moving.
Sure, absolutely. That sounds good. So
Okay.
are you okay then if I just jump into it?
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. Great. Let me share screen then. Can everybody see this? Great. Okay, so with the CD phase and for today, I just want to quickly go over a few things. In December, we have already started the CD phase, knowing that we had a compressed schedule. So what we've been focusing on in that time prior to the new year was developing exterior elevations. So we have a number of pages now that are as part of the drawing set for construction documents that go into fine-grained detail on all locations of the building where different materials meet. So in section, starting at the ground plane, going up to the slab, where windows meet exterior finishes at the sill and the head, going up to the roof eave, and then in plan anywhere where there's a change in materials there as well. So corners of buildings, turns of materials, changes in materials, door jambs, window jambs. And so that is that's a big component of what the architectural construction documentation has to provide. And so we've made a lot of headway there. Since our meeting last week, we have scheduled all CD kickoff meetings with all our consultants. I believe we are meeting with Stimson on Friday, and then next week a slew of our mechanical engineers, structural engineers, acoustic consultants, lighting consultants. We're meeting with Pella to go over details again, and door hardware consultants. So we're really going through it all and just continuing the construction documentation. As we do that, we're still continuing to develop additional VE revisions. So I do have some updates for you on there were a couple of outstanding things in our list that are presented last week. So I just want to give an update on that. And then, as we keep going through CDs, we're going to make sure that, we're obviously doing everything we can to reduce the construction cost. We need to continue, or we need to now spearhead town authority reviews. So the fire chief, the police chief, we're obviously meeting with Conservation Commission tomorrow, and there'll be a few others. So we're going to spearhead that in this phase. I wanted to bring up today the roof insulation. There was some detailed questions about how we were going to incorporate sufficient roof insulation at the teen room. We've got a solution for that, so we wanted to present that today. And then I had a couple of images to show in preparation for the NOI meeting. I'm guessing Penny will not be on the call today. I had a couple of questions for her, but I will reach out to her independently as it relates to tomorrow's meeting. So moving ahead, I might have to get out of this because I think I'm going to want to zoom in here. So to the left is this is the list of value engineering that we undertook. There's some additions and confirmations here. So if I zoom in, we had made some assumptions as it related to the concrete sidewalks being replaced by bituminous pavement. Those assumptions were spot on. So I just wanted to confirm that the savings realized there of 10,000 and change is confirmed. The next item was there was a double dip on plywood on the exterior walls. There was an assumption there for the value of that and what we could see in savings. There's a slight increase. It's a decrease in cost, so an increase in savings, minor. And then another item that was mentioned, but we were not able to price out, was the swapping the tile that we have on the job for retroplate concrete. So again, retroplating concrete. In this case, retroplating is grinding down the finished surface of a concrete slab, revealing the aggregate and then sealing it. It's a nice look, and we've used it on a number of projects. If we have some time, I'm happy to show some imagery. I hadn't had a chance to put it in this presentation, but there's a number of projects by our office where we have actually done this. The procedure is usually done with a topping slab. So you would have a structural slab that is laid first, and then you would come back with a thinner topping slab where you can really control the aggregate and finish of the slab before you come back and grind it. That process, it's a two-step process. That's expensive. What we're proposing is that you just retroplate the structural slab. So you do it more cheaply. We think it's a nice look. The caveat to this finish is that it will reveal cracks. The structural slab commonly has cracks in it. That's not any deficiency of the performance of the slab by any means. It's a visual thing. And we have in a bunch of our projects retroplated structural slab to great results. Yes, they reveal some cracks, but in the scheme of the finished look, we really like it. We have images on our website of a number of projects. So before I go on, Stephen, I see your hand up.
Dominic, again, what spaces are we talking about here?
So this is the, let me jump straight to a plan quickly so we can speak to that. It's the entry lobby here. So everybody can see my cursor.
Yep.
It's this, the reception and browsing and circulation desk space, including the restrooms.
And then what
So-
are you doing in the water service room and the storage room?
So that would be exposed concrete, sealed without retroplating. So the retroplating is it's a combined kind of procedure, but the bulk of the operation is the grinding of the top surface of the slab to reveal the aggregate. And so you see these nice, there's a patterning of the revealed aggregate as a result. That is then sealed as well.
Yep. Okay.
Yep. Stephen, I see your hand is up as well.
Yes, two quick questions. One, I assume these cracks are just incidental shrinkage cracks?
That's correct. No
Okay,
structural deficiency.
right. So they probably start and stop. They're not like continuous across the whole slab.
That's correct.
Okay. I think it sounds pretty interesting visually. I haven't seen it, but
Yeah.
let's say at a later date, you wanted to come back and put, say, tile, which we'd originally, I think, had spec for that area,
Yeah.
tile on top of that. Is that possible?
Yes, as I understand it. I would have to double check the adhesion of the thin set on the finished concrete, but my sense is there would be no issue there at all.
Okay, thank you.
Other than you'd have to undercut all the doors because
That's
we have
Right.
two
yeah,
different
that's right. So
elevations.
that's right. The question, yeah, I think you could easily go to resilient flooring, a 1/4 inch
Right.
assembly. And I think what we would do if we were to retroplate is we would detail it so that the transitions to resilient flooring, which we already have in the meeting room, and it's carpet in adults currently, is we just do a transition strip there. So there would be a very small variation in height. But as far as it relates to the structural slab, it would be a single pour at the same elevation. So we're not looking at insetting this tiled location, or if we were to retroplate. If
Right.
we do tile, we have to set the slab down.
Right.
Yeah, it's
Yep.
like 2 3/4 inch. Actually, with thin set, that's less. That's for floor. It'd be about 1.5 inch, something like that, I think. So.
And how much is the savings to do this?
That is the caveat, because we were discussing this as a savings, and yes, you would see savings. So what I included here in this, it's a little bit too zoomed in. Oops. So for the tile, we're looking at $47 per square foot. Retroplating is $15 per square foot. But if we go with resilient, it's $9 per square foot. So if cost is the guiding kind of decision here, resilient flooring makes sense. The benefit of resilient flooring is you can really control your finish, right? You don't see cracks if people don't like that. It's cheaper. It's it mutes foot traffic, right? It's a little more comfortable. The resilient flooring has this minor, very subtle give under foot traffic, right? So it's a little bit quieter. It's a bit more comfortable. So yeah.
When you say resilient, are we talking sheet goods or are we talking 12 by 12 tiles?
Sheet.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Andrea.
I just have a quick question about maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
So which is easier to clean and maintain over time?
Maintenance, there is no maintenance requirements. You do not need to reseal, as I understand it. I'm not sure on the periods if there is like a 20-year or what the long term is. I think it would be similar for both, as far as cleaning is concerned. Resealing the concrete, I don't think, as I understand it, that there is a need there. I will confirm that for you. So the resilient, as I understand it, is just you live out the warranty period for the product and there's no maintenance. It's purely cleaning, and it's highly resistant to, cleaning products, both the same.
And do you have any concerns with slipping on the retroplate structural slab?
That's a good question. And the intent is that the entry mat that we have in the vestibule does the bulk of the work as far as shedding, any water that you might traipse in, any dirt, any kind of slip concerns or material that might cause slip. But my sense is you would get better traction if you did have any residual moisture on your shoes. You would get better traction on a resilient flooring than concrete.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure that I'm clear that $28,652,000 savings, that's for the retroplate concrete. No.
I went on a whim, Marianne, and I calculated the resilient flooring just to realize the most savings.
Okay.
There is a minor delta there of less than $5,000. So that's your difference. If we went retroplate, you would see 23,000 something.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And then retroplate would be 23,000. So and I really think that, well, the Irving Library has concrete flooring in their lobby. And Home Depot has a concrete floor. So I'm not worried about slipping on the concrete floor, but I guess you could ask that question.
Yes.
From your other projects.
Yes. So we've used it in the Martha's Vineyard Museum. We have used it in commercial fit outs, a couple of interior spaces, office spaces, 2 wine stores on our website. So I'm happy to share those. We have some nice images to give you a sense of the finish and also examples of cracks. So you can evaluate it yourself, like how do they look in the space? Yes, if you scrutinize, you see them, and there's no denying that. But I think in the overall experience of the space, we don't mind it at all. We like the look. That there's a nice expression in exposing aggregate and concrete like that. So I think it fits.
Charming.
I think it fits. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. All right. Well, thank you for doing that research. And
Yeah.
then we can always we don't have to make this decision today.
No.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that this is a very easy kind of switch on our end as far as
Okay.
how we spec that floor. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty, good, okay.
So who makes the decision, Mary Ann?
The committee.
The whole
Mhm.
committee?
Yeah, we would have to let the whole committee because I'm just remembering let's just call it what it was, the evil eye that Penny was giving me when I brought this up. And so she's not here, but I don't think she would deny that she was, trying to put a hex on me. And so we want to give her the opportunity to see this, or at least see images, and let everybody, my vote is for the retroplate concrete, right now. But I'm always willing to listen to other people's opinions and I think it's charming. I think it's economical. I think it will last for a very long time. But it could but if you have a different opinion, you should feel free to share that
Now or then?
whenever you feel like it. Yeah.
So I've had experience with this stuff at UMass, a lot of it. It's a very different look. I like it. However, we put the topping on and then ground the topping, so it's a little bit, I'd say a little finer look than what this is, and I'm okay using it, but again, I think it's gonna be it's gonna make a big aesthetic change than what people are expecting when they walk in the building. As far as the weather, the winter issue, I think you're probably gonna have to buy some walk-off mats or rent some walk-off mats in the winter. Because around here, we know that that little grating in the entry vestibule is not gonna be enough. But other than that, I don't have an objection to it.
I feel like the mats we're gonna get those no matter what the flooring is.
Yeah.
Is my sense. And they're here at Town Hall, they're in the current library, they have them at the elementary school. And so we'll have something. And then I guess Dominic, how hard would it be to get us a price on doing the one with the top layer like Jeff just mentioned?
I would advise against it. It's going to be much more expensive. Well,
Yeah,
it would be more expensive than tile, is my thought.
Okay,
Yeah,
I agree.
yeah, then
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
not heading in the right direction.
yeah, that's right.
And I mean, I kind of like the, again, I feel like it's gonna look a little bit rustic and charming, and natural. But we can, we can bring this back to the full committee and have people do some research and look at some images and then, go from there.
I'll be sure to provide imagery. Yeah, for sure.
So Dominic,
Andrea?
if we go with the ground concrete, what are you gonna do then as a base material
As a base material for.
around the walls between the?
Oh,
concrete
yeah.
and board?
It's a good question. I think we are for tile, we would, I don't remember, I believe we were holding wood base, and that could work nicely to do a 4-inch wood base.
Okay,
We would have vinyl base for carpet and vinyl base for resilient flooring, just, not overthinking the base condition. So then the question is, if we have so much vinyl, do we use that in the concrete floor as well? I feel like wood would be nicer.
so do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep. Andrea?
So I know that this is not a decision that we'll be making because we're not on the building committee, but I do want to just remind everybody that we're trying to build the most economical building. So the one that costs the least, that has a very good, durable structure, interiors, all of that. So as you make these decisions, I just encourage you to keep that in the back of your mind, that this is serving as a pilot and a model for other libraries within that are in the same circumstance with small populations.
Got it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and as far as aesthetic, kind of piggybacking off that, Andrea, as far as aesthetic, we can mimic concrete to a degree too with the resilient. And I think that would actually be our strategy with the resilient. You know, we like to go with a gray speckled finish that could be considered close to concrete. But to your point, Marianne, nothing beats natural, and expressing a pure material, we are always in favor of. And so, but
Right, and it's also greener. It means you're not buying another manufactured product and shipping it, and you're not, and not that this is a ton of tile or resilient flooring, but it just has a slightly better carbon footprint. So because we're putting in a concrete slab.
anyway, right.
Right,
Yeah.
okay. So,
Dominic, if I could,
Yes, Roger.
have you considered using the fiber mesh concrete in this area to reduce the cracking?
I would see
Slightly
that as
added
an added
cost, but-
cost. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
we could. I guess the other thing, I was talking to others in our office about it, and one thing we'd like to control is even rebar, making sure that is not even close to the surface. That's one thing you
Mhm.
wouldn't want to grind. So specking that, making sure that's beneath the finished surface. You only go down fractions of an inch, but you want to make sure that
Mhm.
you wouldn't reveal any of that. I'd be reluctant for the ad cost, and I think, as you say, in the consideration of minimizing cracking, that would be nice. But our sense in general is to not even worry about the cracking. Express it, let it be. It really in our projects is not a bad result to the finish at all. So
I agree.
Yep.
Concrete's supposed to crack.
yeah, right. So that was I just wanted to offer some updates. The outstanding item here is still what the utility back charge is, and our electrical engineer is chasing that down. So I'll give you updates as soon as I have them.
thank you, Dominic.
Yeah, no problem. Just wanted to follow up on our conversations at the last meeting on that. So moving on to the next slide. I wanted to bring this plan up because I don't think we discussed these elements, but we did not we did not really get a sense of what we are trying to do by deleting this parking stall. So the intent here, and we have our landscape architect right now working through this revision. So the dotted lines you can see here would be the revisions to the extent of the asphalt. So we would delete this stall, all this asphalt would go, and we would increase some of the asphalt here, but still be able to incorporate this turn. The other elements that are highlighted here were VE items. So we were talking about the bituminous curb instead of the granite curbing, going to bituminous footpaths in the green, deleting this concrete path completely in blue, and deleting the 3 benches we have currently. And we will investigate what the alternatives are to the the precast concrete pavers at these two locations. So,
Dominic, can you give me the dimensions of those two areas? Because our Friends of the Library group is exploring one of those, brick fundraising options. So I told them I would get the dimensions of definitely the front walkway and then the
Mhm.
back walkway too. So that they would need to know how many bricks would be needed. But it seems like that front walkway would be a great location for that.
High visibility, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So
Yes, I'll do that. I'll get that to you. Thanks.
thank you.
Yeah. So nothing new here, really. I just wanted to kind of present this, and this is not the final layout. I just wanted to kind of give a diagram to our talking points from the last meeting. And then I had the FF&E plan in here that we submitted as part of the design development pricing set. And I didn't really have anything to add here other than to say that there are some additional things that we are working on specifically to hopefully reduce cost. So we think there's some room in the staff workroom storage closet. We've kind of spec'd that the way we usually do. Adjustable shelving. It's laminate, it's veneer, laminated veneer. Finishes on that. I think we could go low spec here just to be a lot more utilitarian. It may be an off-the-shelf product, Marianne, really allow flexibility, but not make it a millwork piece potentially. Similarly for Library of Things, we've discussed it high level. We've got to get into the details. That's something that we're really focusing on as well. We think that we can do this to save some money. This element on its own was around $25,000. So we think we can realize some savings there. And then we are coordinating with our code consultant on deleting the meeting room door. We believe that there is a potential that we can do that. So that's going to alleviate how we handle the refrigerant lines for the condensing units that we have outside here. And if we can, that would greatly simplify how these refrigerant lines enter the building. We could have them at grade because we wouldn't be transitioning over a door threshold, or they could be mounted to the building on the concrete faced insulation water table, the first 18 inches of the wall, and just basically enter the electric room that way. They may need to run up and in, but would be much cheaper and simpler than running them up to the roof eave and around, or even, half height and over the door head. So we're going through the details of this, but it looks like there's an avenue for that. While I'm on this slide, we recently heard, and as of this morning, from our code consultant, that the plumbing code has been revised, where there is a requirement that basically means we would need to double fixtures for the occupancy of our building. This affects all our projects in our office. It was instituted the beginning of this year, and we've been blindsided by this, and this is in Massachusetts only. And usually when there is a code change, there is a grace period. And what's highly unusual about this scenario is that it's been sprung on us effectively. And so we think there's a good reason to go to the plumbing inspector and ask for a variance here. not only because of the way in which it was kind of implemented, but also the need in our project to keep the square footage down to, make this project viable. We had, we've discussed, so we're in communication with our code consultant. I still need to hear back from our plumbing engineer. We need to get their position. This has affected all our projects. We have other projects that are like right at the end of CDs, and you can imagine, that nothing about this is fair for a project that is about to go to permitting, and suddenly you need to double your fixture count as a requirement to meet that code. So we think the best avenue here is to appeal it, and we think there's good grounds for that. Matt and I have discussed if we really had to meet that requirement at jeopardizing the entry to the building, we think there is potential to grow these restrooms here, and it's something that we have to do. Initially we were thinking, is there a way to keep this entry experience and canopy and finagle, at the reduction of other programs? Could it work? But the way everything is fine-tuned with the after-hours access, oversight into teams, we feel like if we had to, can we make it work by growing, the volume here at the entry? It really diminishes our entry experience, but if it has to work, it has to work. What we could do there is allow, because the roof footprint is really what's dictating the fire suppression code requirement. That is our avenue if all things require us to do that. So,
And then they would have stalls.
yep, we would have to. That's right. So it would be 2 stalls. We're still getting to the bottom of the requirement. Again, I got an email this morning about it. So I don't know, Roger, if you have heard wind of this or on other projects that are in design.
I haven't, I'll look it up. Was kind of research the updates on the building code, which just seemed to be starting that process, so.
Yeah.
And that would have a concurrency period once they do, so that shouldn't be an issue, but I'll find out about this plumbing one too.
Yeah. Okay. I'll send you all the information I have, Roger,
Yes,
just for your
please
office.
do.
And so it's new news and a lot of scrambling on our end. So we'll keep you updated. I wanted to let you know because we just found out today. So we'll keep you in the loop as things develop on that. We don't think this is, we are not fearing the worst at this point. It's early days, and we think we have a great reason to fight this as it stands for this project. Andrea, I see your hands raised.
Thank you. I have a few questions. So one, could you share that with us too? Whatever you
Yep.
received. Thank you.
Sure. Yep.
Two, do you think that having to do any redesign with this will impact schedule at all? And then, is this per square footage? Is this a requirement that's changed per how many square feet you have, or is it because of the type of, like, an assembly space? What is
I think it's assembly and occupancy driven.
Okay.
As far as schedule, I don't see it being a schedule impact for our mechanical engineers. The one thing that alarmed us initially was the leaching field. But the one thing and we need confirmation from our plumbing engineers, is occupancy for the building is not going up. So how would flow suddenly increase just because you have additional fixtures? What is that calc? My sense is it's occupancy driven, not fixture driven.
Right.
That's what, so that's kind of the broad thinking that we quickly went through this morning. Yeah, So again, I'll forward you the information we have. I want to hear back from our plumbing engineer and get their sense, because I'm sure it's affecting more of, you know, their projects than even ours.
Well, this would be all of our projects that are currently in design,
Yeah.
I would assume.
Yeah,
So
we've got
thank
2
you.
that are right at the end as well, which are, it's tough.
Yes. Thank you.
Yep. So that was it really for this plan. Again, as we go through CDs, Marianne, we're really going to get into the fine grain of programming each space, making sure that we meet your needs as far as storage, office spaces, again, collections, seating, you know, all the electrical devices, floor boxes, all that kind of thing. You know, we're really going to get into the detail elements here, and the fine grain detailing on the interior of the building. We have it in a very good place, but there are a few things that we just will review with you as we kind of work through them. So,
Can I ask a question on those sliding doors?
yeah,
Are they, what material are those going to be? Are they going to be wood
glass,
or
metal,
Frame.
and glass, metal framed. Oh, aluminum. So,
and then what, how do you, since they're pocketed in a wall, how do you fix them if they jump the track?
I believe there is a floor track too. I'm trying to remember the details for them. We are going with a product from I'm blanking on there. I can get you the details. We're using a system for basis of design. We did this at the very beginning of DD, so it's not fresh in my mind right now. It's on the tip of my tongue, Jeff. Sorry.
Well, something to look into.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think acoustic performance is another thing that we're looking at. Structural engineers already accounted for support for those systems. But yes, there'll be an aluminum system and glazed. So
Okay,
you see through them. Yep.
thank you.
Yep. So moving on to the roof insulation. So we received an evaluation between using either 5-inch or 7-inch roof insulation, and the building energy requirement associated with that. So you would figure that by increasing the roof insulation from 5 to 7 inches, an additional 2 inches in the roof, would see some cost savings in the need to heat and cool the building. Funnily enough, there's a diminishing returns here. This is related to our add alternate, right, to increase the roof insulation. So there is negligible cost savings by doing that switch. This is per annum. And so looking at the add cost to the project of $18,000 and change, we feel that it does not warrant the increase to increasing that roof insulation. We currently meet our demand with PV, and so we feel like it's a pretty simple, you know, it's a good evaluation to make. The energy model was used to get these numbers, and so we feel that we should just hold the 5-inch roof insulation and realize those savings. We did a the cost estimate at DD held the 5 inches. So this $18,000 is not going to be an additional reduction to the current scope. But I just wanted to kind of mention that. as I go on to explain the roof insulation.
So what is an EUI?
EUI is a calculus to understand the energy efficiency of a building. And that has to do with your equipment, but also the building performance itself. So envelope design, your windows, double glazed, triple glazed, how is your insulation working? And
Okay.
therein your roof insulation as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And I think we've seen on some projects, so the Mass Save, did they weigh in on this too? I think they were looking at 30 EUI
I believe you're
for
right.
libraries, so energy usage intensity
Yeah.
is what it stands for. And they were projecting that libraries will be 30 and under for EUI total.
Yep. So usually with lead projects, we set those targets to, that's a question I'll ask back to our electrical engineer, Andrea,
Thank you.
and get a response to you. Yep.
So do you mean it should be 30 and under versus 38.5?
That's
Is that
right.
made
That
right?
we are
Right.
over. Yeah.
We're over? So
To
that's a
the-
negative thing?
Yes. Yep.
Looks like it could be a big negative thing if changing insulation only affects the EUI by a small fraction.
Yeah. So, yeah, let me ask the engineer about that, Andrea, and our requirement to meet that and what that means for rebates.
Thank you.
Yep. So I wanted to present that as we moved into detailing. So we had drawn our roof insulation at 7 inches to make sure that we accounted for, detailing considerations around the roof. We have, with that in mind, the fact that we are not seeing big energy savings, we've reconsidered the roof, redrawn it at 5 inches, and again, in the spirit of looking to save some money in how we detail, every element of the building. Stephen, I think you had raised the question about simplifying this roof eave condition and, basically flattening the roof, extending it closer to the roof eave, simplifying the detailing here. And we ran this past our cost estimator, and he feels like you would see minor savings here of $2,000 to $3,000 for the whole roof. So it's really not a big savings, and that's kind of back of the napkin because there's a lot involved here. But again, it's either no savings at all, because you are continuing this rigid insulation further, right? You're buying a little bit more material, but you're simplifying the detail here. You would delete the flat seam roof, and this would just be flashing detail. So there's, many components here. You're extending the standing seam roof somewhat. So in the mind of our cost estimator, it's really a no cost benefit. But we feel like this detail simplifies things a little bit. And we think it's a better way to go, especially as I bring up the next drawing regarding the upturned roof and ensuring that the teens room has sufficient roof insulation. So the red line is the profile previously seen, and this simplifies things. So you can see here the section through teens. This is on the east side of the building. The red line, this is a kind of blow up of that. I can zoom in a little more. The red line shows the previous profile And the intent was here that we had metal roof for the upper roof and that we had a TPO roof for this upturned roof condition, which would incorporate a cricketing so that the roof could drain north and south of this. So by considering this 5-inch roof insulation thickened condition, we would continue that down into the valley of the upturn and then back up again to ensure that we meet the requirements for this interior space and have sufficient roof insulation here. The cricketing will still work. We think it simplifies the transition here. We're still working through the detailing, but the transition of TPO under the metal standing seam roof would be simplified. And we then meet the roof insulation requirement for teens rooms. So we think, again, we're simplifying things. We're meeting the requirement for teens and heading in a better direction. So we're continuing to develop this. The next step for us is to review this with Garland. They are working with us, kind of a design assist on our roof, because they would ultimately warranty the roof as a complete system, both metal seam and TPO together. Stephen, yes.
Yes, two questions. So how do you deal with replacing the TPO if it's running up under the standing seam metal?
You would have to, as I understand it, some of that metal roof would have to come up to replace the TPO completely. But as a warranty, both are considered covered under the same warranty. So if there's an issue with one product and you have to remove some of the metal seam roof, then that's covered under warranty.
Okay, so if, say, 10 years down the line, there's a problem with the TPO and it's got to be replaced, does this warranty mean that we're protected and that's going to take place?
That's correct.
Right.
The other thing is TPO can be repaired as well.
Okay. All right. Then the second question is, so the insulation now is covering the teen room.
Yep.
But when you get to the other side of the cricket where it's over the entry upturned roof, is there insulation in there? And so that's one question. Then the second question is, you're going to have, I assume, different roof temperatures above the teen room as opposed to the section of the upturned roof over the entry, because that's outside the building. And how does the roof / TPO respond to winter conditions when you have it on two surfaces that are going to have different roof temperatures?
Yeah,
Or do we need,
that's a good question. We've used it on a number of our libraries where the TPO extends, covering the interior space, and then extends out on the eave beyond, effectively in a freeze condition. And again, warranted for 30 years without issue.
I want to see these details.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Well, absolutely, we'll share them. And again, with Garland's oversight, that's how we feel confident that this will not be an issue for the town. As if there is a installer defect, again, or anything that is covered under warranty will be repaired without any issue.
That's what you're saying. Okay. I got too much roof experience to know that ain't gonna happen, but okay.
What I'm happy to get warranty information, and I think you deserve it, right? We should share you what that warranty means, the finer details, and make sure that you are happy with the warranty
Yeah,
that you
that'd be
would
great.
get for this.
Would appreciate that, yes.
Yeah, no problem. So we're continuing that coordination. Moving on, the last here, I've got the schedule coming up, and I just wanted to kind of share what we're looking to present for Conservation Commission. I'm going to be speaking to this plan, which was a part of the NOI submission. And Marianne, these were the renderings, the latest renderings that we were looking to share. The caveat is here that at the 11th hour before the NOI submission, there were some revisions made to the planting plan, which are not represented here. So I'm currently waiting to hear back from Stimson on their position in this. I don't know if we have a lot of time to make wholesale revisions to these images, but I think it would be nice to at least give all those attending the meeting a flavor of what this building will feel like. I will contact Penny outside of this meeting, after this meeting, I mean, and just get her sense on kind of the strategy for that. So, and then moving to schedule, we're currently in January. And again, aiming at April, mid-April, for CDs. We're going to do a 75% CD cost estimate, which will have, get us this estimate sometime in April, kind of right around the end. Because everything's so compressed, we feel that, estimating a 50%, I don't know if there'll be a lot of change compared to the DD cost estimate. We feel like 75 is kind of is the best option at this, with where we are right now. This is what we're proposing. And then, moving on into 2 months of bid award and still holding construction to start mid-June.
At the 75% CD cost estimate, are we going to get a review set of specs?
Yes, yes. Yep. I'll
Okay.
issue everything the way we did for DD. That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Andrea, I'll go back to my emails. I want to make sure that you were attached to the DD submission that I sent to the town. I don't know, Marianne, maybe if you had forwarded to Andrea, and Heather, obviously you need it now as well. I will go back and make sure that you got the DD estimate. I'm not sure if you have or
I
are reviewing.
believe I did, yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, and obviously you're reviewing that, and then we will roll in your comments throughout the DD phase as well.
Thank you.
The
CD
phase.
phase,
CD
yes.
phase.
Thank you.
Yeah, your DD comments. Yep.
Thank you.
That was it, Marianne, for today.
Oh, what decisions are you going to need from the committee next time?
I don't know that I do.
Okay.
That I need any decision making. There's still ongoing VE efforts, but none of those are critical, I think, as it relates to ongoing coordination with our consultants.
Okay.
Yep. Stephen? Oh, you're on mute. I'm sorry.
I think he's still muted.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
it
not
is.
unmuting. I can only ask to unmute. I can't unmute
Right.
you.
He's having some kind of issue with unmuting.
Yeah.
I don't think I can do anything either.
All right. Other than the chat.
Yeah, you can put it in
Um,
the chat.
Yeah, there is no chat.
Yeah, not
Oh.
on this
But
one.
Stephen, you could send me an email and I could read it
Yeah.
out if you can't figure out how to get unmuted. Can
I do have a question on nothing
Okay.
else. For Dominic or Marion, the septic design, are we, before this plumbing code change, but are we set with the size of it and the location and such as it affects the site plan?
That's right. Yep.
Yeah.
Heritage is, and that's, I'm Boston O'Neill are very busy at the moment in preparation for the Conservation Commission meeting tomorrow. We have a coordination meeting set with them next week sometime. So that's definitely one of the questions I'll be asking them as to where the developments are from Heritage. That's their sub-consultant for septic design.
Can you explain the bid award process?
It's a good question, Marianne. I don't know if I have a good answer on giving you a concise answer on that today. As I understand it, there's pre-qualification that happens prior to that.
Yeah, we're not doing pre-qualification.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Roger, if you can speak to that.
Yeah, I could say just once the bids are in, you'll have, your top three and we'll
Yeah, no,
do
not
our
that
research.
part. So,
What's
so
that?
bid award is, it looks like it's a 2-month time period.
Yep.
So we finish CDs and then we create bid documents. And who creates the bid documents?
So the bid documents, as I understand it, is the CD set.
Okay,
The bidders will ask questions, and there's going to be within that 2 months, there's going to be a question period where bidders will have specific questions on scope, and as a result of that, our office is going to issue addenda, and so there will be and that's done over a certain time frame where the subcontractors have deadlines that they need to submit. We answer those questions in the document form. So we issue an addenda related to these deadlines. So you can have up to, multiple addenda, sometimes 8 or whatever. And you basically revise your documentation in response to that. Then you issue a conformed set. And then the award process happens. And I forget exactly that's kind of the architect's side of it. And then the award happens thereafter.
okay,
All right, so you'll have roughly 6 to 8 weeks of bidding. And then you'll have roughly 30 days to award the contract.
okay.
So
And so
who-
we get the
then-
bids, we review the bids, we check references.
In that time period, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, in that 30 days. Okay.
And then they usually, the
Okay.
language, but they'll hold a bid for 30 days to allow you to get the contract ready.
Okay.
So Andrea and Dominic, who provides the boilerplate for the specs? All the contract stuff.
There's some of that is OPM. Some of the front end stuff is,
Yep.
But we roll that into our spec. We have a spec writer that does architectural. We have all our consultants add their divisions, but there is front end language
Right.
that we get
Mhm.
from the OPM. I forget exactly those divisions. It's all that the early divisions, contract in wording. There's a whole bunch of stuff there.
So does the town need to give you any contract wording or the library group?
That's a question for
Yeah.
Roger and Neil.
And Neil, yeah, and Andrea too, is there stuff from MBLC that kind of minimizes what the town needs to do?
So we do not issue anything for specifications. We are, as these are contracts that are held by the municipality as the contracting authority, we do not issue anything for bid.
Mhm, okay.
Okay,
Alright.
and then how long after, so say mid-April, we, release the bid documents, and then by the end of May, you've answered all of the questions and filed all of the addenda wherever they go. And then, so then we get the bids, and then by the end, so then we choose a contractor. How long does it usually take them to mobilize and actually start construction? Like a week?
No, no. Much,
No,
a
much
month,
longer?
a month.
Okay,
I
Yeah,
think it's
that's right,
something like
about a
that,
month,
Jeff. Yeah.
okay. All
There's
right,
a lot of paperwork and stuff that has to go back and forth before they
okay,
turn a shovel.
okay.
But Mary Ann,
We're
you
just
may
gonna
want
have
to
to
talk
schedule
to
a
Becky.
groundbreaking ceremony.
Oh, okay.
That, that's what I'm just thinking, but
Yeah.
can be scheduled, before any actual
Mhm.
work is done. Okay.
Yeah.
All
And
right.
we can talk about that, Marianne, because on our projects, you'll see oftentimes like the site is already cordoned off. They may have already even demolished a portion of the building or whatever was there. I mean, your site is clear, and then they'll have the groundbreaking. So it can
Okay.
be really at any time that you
Okay.
agree with mutually with the contractor.
Okay, okay, great, okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm still not sure what happened, and I'm still not fully back on Zoom, but now you can hear me. So my question has to do with lighting in the meeting room in terms of being able to use the wall surfaces for art display. And I don't know if the existing lighting scheme is designed to accommodate that use. You're muted, Dominic.
There we go. Right back at you, Stephen. So yes, we have discussed that. And again, we need to be very budget conscious with
Right.
the lighting system. But for the meeting room, we are considering that this wall here is considered or has the potential to serve as a display wall. So we have grazed like wall grazing lighting in the ceiling for that. We have specific stage lighting, let's call it. It's specific to somebody conducting a meeting here, specific to the front end of a meeting space. We were thinking about also using this wall as a display, but I believe that we are not anymore. It's a bit interrupted with this door into the electrical room. So I think there's at least 3 zones of lighting here, and then you can module, you can alter each of those. But again, I think potentially it's going to be something that's operational from switches on the wall, or it's something we'll work through with you, Marianne. Again, the intent here is to keep it simple and not to go with the most fandangled system that is available right now. I'm not sure if at the lectern you could do some controlling. My sense is, it's probably simplest to consider one of these walls as a switch point for the whole space.
And I guess the second question is when I look at the electrical reflected ceiling plan, it appears that there are track sections on each side of every beam.
Yeah.
So, that's a lot of track sections, correct?
Yeah, it is. It's something that we're going to spearhead in our coordination meeting. My understanding was that we only needed one track per structural bay, so you're not doubling up, and that the fixture that's supported to that one side is enough to illuminate, to get the foot candle requirements at the floor. So I'm wondering whether it's a kind of a representation error in our drawings. The lighting schedule that was used for the cost estimate was specific and correct. But you're right, the reflected ceiling plan seems to have additional tracks, which I don't think we need. I think it's a pure misrepresentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. Again, looking at the reflected ceiling plan, it looks like there were representations of fixtures on the tracks, but only on, say, one track in each bay seemed to have fixtures.
Yep.
Which makes sense with what you're saying.
Yep. I agree. I think that's kind of an error in the drawing.
Okay.
Yep. I'll confirm that for you. Yep. That was it, Marianne, if you didn't, at least from me. You're on mute. Yeah.
When's our next meeting?
Oh, yeah. So you had set the committee meeting. Now I don't remember the date.
I think the 23rd.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Twenty-third of this month. Yep.
Right. So what about the next design development or the next design subcommittee meeting?
I figure we are doing, bi-weekly cadence, but that's for the committee meeting.
So during
Trying to remember what we
whatever
did.
the last was, during
Yeah.
design development, we met, this
Yep.
small group met every other week for like 8 weeks.
I think we do the same cadence.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then we had a schedule where you had all of the different topics we were going to talk about at those meetings, and I used them to post the agenda. I can't see this to see if that's on here. But so should we plan to meet? And then Jeff, what are your dates that you're going to be away?
I'm leaving next Tuesday and I won't be back till the 1st of February.
Okay. So
And I'm not taking my computer.
you're not taking your computer. Okay. So would it be terrible if we waited and we met, if this group met next? We have that meeting on the 23rd, and then we meet that first Wednesday in February.
The
Does
7th?
that make sense?
Yes.
And then you'll have plenty to do between now and then. And then, we can, because, okay, does that work for you, Stephen?
That works for me, the 7th of February.
Okay.
Will that be at 12 or 1?
So Neil didn't make it, but either way works for me. 12 is a little bit better for me. So should we say 12? Okay, so February 7th at 12, and then what topics will we be discussing? And Andrea, does that work for you?
It does work for me, yes.
All right. And what topics will we be discussing so I can put them in the agenda?
Sure. I think it would be, I definitely will have information about how we're strategizing all our consultants, like what everybody is doing. I think millwork, Marianne, I'd like to, really lock that down just to get your sign off on that.
Okay, okay,
And I think potentially some, updates on VE and the strategizing.
okay, okay.
And then, yeah, that's everything high level right now.
Okay, and
Yeah.
and then
There's a
other,
lot going on with, back of house with consultants
Right.
and stuff. I'm just wondering what I'll have to share for you for that meeting.
so we'll do February 7th, February
Yeah.
21st,
Yeah,
and
Uh,
March 6th. Okay,
yeah.
all right,
bi-weekly cadence.
okay, all
Yeah.
right. And we'll plan on noon. Okay, and Roger, you'll let Neil know?
Yes,
All right, great.
Hmm.
Okay,
certainly.
all right, terrific. Okay,
So
so
the full committee on the 23rd, is it?
at 7 PM. Yeah.
Okay.
And that, okay, and that we're gonna go over that sort of life cycle cost analysis, and any other VE and whatever else comes up. And we can share the, concrete flooring. Oh, did you want to show us some images, or do you want to just email me some images?
I can. If you guys are happy, you don't mind me jumping on our website real quick.
I
That's
would
what
like
I'll
to see the
fly through.
flooring images if everybody else can bear with us.
Yeah,
Okay,
this won't take long.
okay.
Yep. Can everybody see this?
Yeah.
So feel free to get on our website. So we'll start with some of the commercial. So Orbia was a office fit out in Waltham, and here again retroplate. What you can see in this image. So again, they grind down to reveal the aggregate, and it was a structural slab. So what we couldn't control, this is an existing space that we fit out. What we couldn't control is, any specifications on where the aggregate might be relative to the surface of the structural slab. So in this case, it didn't reveal a lot of aggregate in this location. You can see that there were two different pores here, and you can see that color differential. Again, we kind of, our inspiration here is to take it as it is, as a natural product, and it doesn't take away from the aesthetic. You can see that the finish here has a sheen to it. There's a lot of natural light coming in here to the left, so there's some reflectivity here, which you would not get, some additional reflectivity that you wouldn't get from Resilient. This portion here, you can really now see the aggregate. We think it's beautiful, this portion here. I think there are some images of cracking. You can see here where my cursor is. There's a crack. This is a good 3-foot crack. You're not that close in the image, but again, aggregate is looking really nice here. That crack I think I mentioned was over here. So this looks like a crack here as well. I'm sorry, no, this is this looks like some sort of surface expansion joint around the column. So this is Orbia. Whoops. Urban Grape was a wine store. You can see from this image, see the cracking as a result. A little bit different here. Again, you do get the sheen. The aggregate density and size is a little bit different. Right, you don't have the same expression of aggregate. Again, we think this is great, a nice expression of a natural material. We did the same in Coruscant Wine Store. Here you see, this was a 1/4 inch. I think we took off the top surface of the existing structural slab. Again, an existing space. We had no control over the slab. You can see this crack here where my cursor is. The aggregate is coming through really nicely here.
Is that Conrad at a wine
Yes,
tasting?
it is. Yes, yeah. With his mother actually on this one.
Amazing.
Yeah. So here we have, a crack. I'm not sure if it looks like it could continue right across. Again, we don't think it takes too much away from the finish look. So, a few examples here. There are others as well. We did it again at Privateer. This is in Ipswich. So again, all of these places are around. You can go and have a look yourself. So feel free to reference these projects. And if you're ever on Martha's Vineyard, we did it on the Martha's Vineyard Museum too. So I believe there is an image of the new edition here, which is housing the historic lens. I think downstairs here, a structural slab that they retroplated. So you're not getting as much sheen here, I think, because the direct light is not so prominent. And I think I have to look into the specifications as to the sheen of the final finishing. I think you can control that somewhat. So I will include some of these. That was it. I think there's only one shot of downstairs of this new edition. So I'll be happy to share some of this imagery to the committee so you can get a good sense. I think we've given you examples of what the resilient flooring can look like, and again, this is something that is not a pressing decision at this point by any means. So once we do interior material review with you, we'll do that in person, and it's similar to what we did for the community meeting for the exterior, but we'll do it a little bit more detailed for the interior finishes. Give you all the options and you get tactile, you get samples, you see it. I think we even have a sample in the office of retroplating, so you can see it firsthand if you don't get a chance to go to these projects. And we can wait till then to make that assessment for you. So not pressing, but I think we're not doing tile, is my sense. Let's see some savings. We have two options for how we could treat that floor, finish that floor, and both seeing, some cost savings. So.
Right. Thank you.
Yep.
I'm glad that we have started talking about this and looking at it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. Good. Especially because Penny's not here to give me the evil eye. Yes.
Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll see everybody on the 23rd, and then tomorrow at 7 p.m. for our Conservation Commission hearing for the NOI. And then we'll meet February 7th. And then you know how to get in contact with us in the meantime if questions.
Absolutely. And Marianne, I'm sure there'll be an open dialogue between us too on specifics.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can, I think we're good. We're making progress. We're moving along. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Okay. Heather, do you have any questions?
I don't think so. I'm just absorbing.
Okay, great. Good. All right. Okay. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks,
Okay.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have
Nice
a
to meet
great day.
everybody.
You too.
Marianne, I have a quick question
Okay.
unrelated to the meeting. Tomorrow, the NOI, it's a pretty lengthy document, which I just started to go through. Do you have any suggestions on particular parts of it to focus on?
So the only DEP reviews the NOI and submits comments, and the only comments they didn't really submit very many comments at all, but they're about the stormwater management, and I think that there will be that might be an area where questions come up. So if you wanted to read that lengthy stormwater report, you could read that. I read the whole thing, and I am glad that we have a senior civil engineer on our team. Who understands stormwater management. But the DEP asked they just asked questions like who's going to maintain the basins? And so the highway department is going to maintain the basins like they do at other town facilities. And questions like that. So and then you know, we did our best we kept the project out of the 25-foot buffer zone. And you could look at the mitigation strategies, because we are impacting, you know, the entire project is in buffer zone. We are impacting buffer zone, and so we're going to be required to do mitigation. So you could look at those things. I think that April did a really good job, and so now we just have to see how the conversation goes with the Conservation Commission.
Thank you.
Hey, Stephen,
Yes.
Bruce League at the elementary school.
Yep, I'm gonna head up there.
Okay,
You too?
yeah, I'll go down.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys. They're also on the town building committee. So, so, all right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.